Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yesterday, we marked a very dark milestone in Canada's history. 10 years of the Liberals. A dark time. A very dark time. We used to have a country that was safe, was secure, the envy of the world, a country that worked for Canadians, a country that protected Canadians. And they might say they're a new government. They might be, I know they're heckling right now, they might think that this is a brand new government. It's not. It's the same MPs, the same Liberal member of parliaments, the same cabinet ministers, the same failed Liberal policies. And I know they're not happy with what I'm saying, but it's their policies that have hurt Canadians every single day. Under their watch, we've had the fastest shrinking economy, the fastest shrinking, where Canadians are now lining up at food banks, where crime, chaos, and drugs are running rampant right across our country. Record numbers in crime. Drugs are now being sold in our streets. Our kids are losing their lives. Under their watch, in their 10 years, 50,000 Canadians have lost their lives to drug overdoses. 50,000. That's more than the Second World War. We've had a homelessness crisis. Encampments are popping up in my riding in Oxford County, but also across our country from coast to coast to coast. Canadians are suffering. They're suffering from their failed policies. On immigration, we had one of the best immigration programs in the world. It was the envy of the world. We brought in the brightest, the best, people that could achieve their full potential, people that filled major needs in our country, that were able to raise their family. But under their watch, they broke that too. They broke our immigration system. And then they started hijacking our institutions. They started censoring Canadians. They started telling Canadians what they could do, where they can go, what they can say, what they can see. It became about control. All about control, Mr. Speaker. And again, with C2, when they first brought that in, they talked about public safety. They talked about immigration. But it was another attempt of attacking Canadians' freedoms, their privacy. They wanted to attack their way of life. And it was because of the Conservatives and other parties and Canadians who raised their voices, who objected, who said no to their policies, that we now have Bill C-12 in Parliament today. Now, if you look at immigration, Mr. Speaker, I'm a proud son of immigrants. My parents chose Canada in the early 80s. They came for that Canadian dream. They worked hard, played by the rules, were able to earn a decent living, raise a family under their watch. But guess what? We don't have the system anymore. They have broken that system almost in all aspects. Let's take a look at the asylum system. We have over 300,000 folks lined up to get asylum. Many cases are bogus, fake asylum claims. A system that is now full with fraud, with abuse, with an average wait time of almost 44 months to process in our country. And this all started because of their actions. You might remember, Mr. Speaker, it was this government that put out a famous tweet when Trump was voting the first time saying, everybody's welcome. And guess what happened? You think that was the best tweet? They think that's the best tweet ever. That tweet brought in over 100,000 illegal border crossers to Roxham Road. It put pressure on our system. Many of those cases were bogus. But you can't fix stupid, Mr. Speaker. That was a dumb move by this government, a dumb move by that former Prime Minister. They're making policy based on tweets. That's how they run this government. It is their failures that have led to the trouble we're seeing today. And so I find it ironic when they put policy forward saying they're going to fix this system. It's a new government. It's their own doing. They did this. They broke it. And this is going to continue, sadly, and we saw it at the border as well. Canada's U.S. border, one of the longest borders, an important hub for economics, an important hub for security. You know, $2 billion of trade cross-border every single day. We have a massive economic opportunity. Most of Canadians live 100 kilometers away from the border or within the border. So it's an important transportational, logistical hub for us to have a system that works for both Canada and the U.S., where we could have strong economic ties. On security, it's even more important, you know, to keep Canadians safe. Under their watch, we've had record numbers of crime. One of the highest, gun crime, homicides, all have gone up. And if you look at the border, we've seen a massive rise in guns being smuggled in. And while they might believe that it's lawful, law-abiding firearms owners that are the problem, they're not. I have been a firearms owner for over 15 years. I love going to the range. I'm a sports shooter. Folks like myself, farmers, hunters, are not the problem. It's their weak border policies, their open border policies. Toronto Police, law enforcement across our country have made it very, very clear. 90% of the guns that come into our country are illegal guns. The criminals are not using guns from lawful gun owners, they're smuggling them in through the border. And those guns are now in our communities. They're being used for organized crime. They're being used to kill children. And if you can't secure the border, if you can't stop that from happening, we're going to keep on losing Canadians. We have cartels now that are operating in a country. Seven, under their watch, under their soft on crime policies, open border policies, failure to secure our border. We have 7 cartels that are operating. They're illegally moving around drugs, money laundering, pushing guns, and yet they have the audacity to stand up in this house and say, oh, we're going to fix the problem. They are the problem. It's them, their failed policies. And it continues. Drugs keep being pushed in. In Oxford County, we are on the 401 and 403. It has become, sadly, a hub for drugs being brought into our community. I was talking with a family member who lost a loved one because their son got addicted to drugs. Illegal drugs that were brought in to our community through the 401, 403 corridor. They lost their son. They have real life consequences for their failures. Human trafficking, another huge part of crime that we're seeing in southwestern Ontario. Again, you know, the minister responsible for public safety just puts his hands up and says, you know, we're not going to, you know, enforce the border. He was asked about hiring more CBSA officers. He said, it's not my job, because we know how Liberals do. They keep over-promising. They keep recycling the same photo ops. They keep announcing they're going to hire new personnel. But the minister, when asked how many did he hire so far, the answer was 0. They haven't hired any frontline officers. And when asked, when will you do it, or why haven't you done it, he put his hands up and said, it's not my responsibility. Well, whose responsibility is it? He's the minister responsible. He owes it to every single Canadian to do his job. But sadly, it is these Liberals that have broken our system. Canada's Conservatives will always stand for law-abiding Canadians, will invest in securing our borders, will ensure that repeat violent offenders that commit crimes are locked up, put behind bars, and will make sure we fix the broken immigration system so that all Canadians can achieve their full potential. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Questions and comments? Question on commentary. The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary, the Government House Leader.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. The member opposite, did it all in terms of reflecting on the Conservative tough on crime policy and amplified the idea that Canada is broken. And I say to the member opposite that Canada is in fact not broken. And we continue to work with provinces to deal with issues like bail reform, because it is shared responsibility. But the question I have for a member opposite is very telling. He sits right behind the leader of the official opposition, and the leader of the official opposition did something despicable over the last week. When he called RCMP officers, and in particular the head of the RCMP, despicable. The RCMP is an institution that is recognized around the world as something positive. Does he believe that the leader of the Conservative Party should apologize?
Member for Oxford.
You should resign.
It is their policies that have destroyed almost every single aspect of our country today. It is their failures, it is their mismanagement, it is their negligence, it is their incompetence that has led to our country to be in the state we are today. And I'm proud to say my Jail Not Bail Act had the support of police officers, law enforcement from all levels, and I'm very excited that we're going to keep this conversation going, and we'll always stand with law enforcement on this side of the House. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Questions and comments. Question and commentary. The honourable member for Calgary Crowfoot.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So during my colleague's speech, he made reference to the tweet that resulted in the conflation of economic migrants and asylum seekers. And when he mentioned this tweet that single-handedly broke the asylum system, he was heckled by the Liberal benches. One of the members in the Liberal benches, in fact, called it the best tweet ever. So it would seem that this Liberal government has learned nothing, and it's certainly the members of its benches. But I thought I should bring it to this member's attention and see if he had any comments on that.
The honourable member for Oxford.
Mr. Speaker, it's this type of behavior that has caused the crisis we see today. That they're making policy on Twitter. They're making policy on a paper napkin, but it has real consequences for Canadians. And that 100,000 folks coming across our border put pressure on our system, has broken a system that was once the best in the world, that actually helped those that are being persecuted. But what do you get with these Liberals? They heckle, they mudsling, they try to distract, they try to deny, they try to obstruct. That is the Liberal way, and in the last 10 years, that's the way they've been doing it, but it will change under a Conservative government when that happens soon.
Questions and comments. Question and commentary. L'honorable député de Rivière-du-Nord.
Questions and comments. The honourable member for Rivière-du-Nord. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I thank my colleague for the speech. Earlier, I raised the problem of investment. There is insufficient staff to conduct business in airports, so I raised that. There is also an issue related to the enforcement of these provisions. Can my colleague share his views on what we should do to improve border security and safety? Does he feel that rather than passing bills upon bills, we should really get boots on the ground and make sure that things are working?
Honourable colleague for his great intervention. I think he raises a great point. This Liberal government is wasting over $700 million in a gun grab scam. That money should be put towards frontline officers at our borders with the RCMP. Put the money on the ground where the boots are going to be on the ground. Put it where we could actually enforce, where we could actually protect Canadians. The Liberals in the past have put money in bureaucracy. They've put money in nice office towers in Ottawa. That money should be put on the ground, on where people can actually do their job. We need more scanners. We need more CBSA officers, frontline officers. We need more security. And again, they're heckling again, Mr. Speaker. They're heckling again because they can't handle the truth. It's their fault. We're going to fix it.